Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to me talk again with you, and now we're going to talk about an important topic. We're going to talk about the language and the brain and how both of them works together to learn. Okay, first, to talk about these two topics, we need to know what is the psycholinguistics. This is a science that is in charge of investigate which processes are involved in learning a new language, not only about the mother tongue language, also in foreign languages, like in here the English. Psycholinguistics, it's in charge of study and analyze the processes and mental states involved in the comprehension, production, and acquisition of the language. Also, other thing that we need to talk is language, obviously. This it's a process that it's involved to have communication into a community or a culture. It has a lot of characteristics and it's in charge also of talk about signs, signals, or other things that are involved in these communities. Language is composed by a lot of phenomena that can't be studied one by one. It is owned to a community, individual, and produced comprehended by every speaker and listener in particular. As we know, language is transmitted in a lot of ways, like here in an oral way, or in messages, writing, or in signs, signals in the sky, or in a lot of things, So, we're going to talk about that. Transmission of the language is not only in the external part of the body, also into, as also the images and the acoustic as a mental process. As we talked before about the psycholinguistics, it also has a lot of things that is in charge of study. The phenomena that it studies, it's like observation of the conduct, linguistic and spontaneous, grammatical analysis, observation of the acquisition of the language, analysis of images in the brain, studies of the conduct and the transmission in the brain. Now that we know that, we're going to talk absolutely about the brain. And here we know that the brain is divided into two hemispheres. What are those? What are their functions? We are going to know that. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, composed by left and right hemispheres. Cerebellum is located under the cerebrum, coordinate muscles, moves, posture, and balance. The brainstem acts as a relay center connecting the cerebrum and the cerebellum. Corpus callosum is ubicated in the cerebrum, which is divided in left and right hemispheres. It transmits messages from the side to other. The Broca's area lies in the left on the frontal lobe. It moves the tongue and the facial movements. The frontal lobe changes personality, behavior, judgment, speech, body movement, and more. The parietal lobe interprets language, sense of touch, vision, and perception. The Wernicke's area, damage to this area causes Wernicke aphasia. The occipital lobe interprets passion. The temporal lobe understands language, memory, hearing, sequencing, and organization. In the deep structures, we find the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the thalamus, the basal ganglia, and the limbic system. The structures of the limbic system are involved in the memory. It is divided into two, the short-term memory and the long-term memory. It also has a relation with the skill memory into the cerebellum, the gyrus, the cortex, the hypothalamus, and the amygdala. One thing that we need to understand better is that the brain is obviously connected. The information is not divided as the hemispheres because one hemisphere is in charge of something and the other one is in charge of other things like brain but movements and things like that. As we know, the first hemisphere of the side it's connected to this part of the body and the other the last part. So we're going to understand better this, okay? The connection between the two hemispheres and all the parts of the brain and the body are connected in the cells because the nerve cells consist of a cell body, dendrites, actions, and more, and it connects information to move all the body and make connections. Okay, finally, to give a conclusion, now that we saw the last parts of the video about the brain, the language, the psycholinguistic, and more, we understand that a language is a process that have mechanisms involve our whole body and our brain. Not only a part, not only the myths that told us that only a part of our brain works to learn. No, it's a whole process. And now that we see this, we can understand better how to learn a language. Bye!